everyone, this is Meera Gupta and today in this video I am going to cover the next paragraph of class 12th English chapter 4, The Rat Trap by Selma Lagerlof. But before this, I hope you have watched the previous video containing para from 1st to 20. Cause if you haven't watched the video, then you will not get to understand the further story. So it's my suggestion to go through the previous video first. Now here let us see from paragraph 21 to 30. I am going to read this paragraph, and for this you must keep your book in front of you. So let us see para number 21. To go along up to the manor house and be received by honor like an old regimental comrade, that however did not please the tramp. No, I couldn't think of it, he said, looking quite alarmed. He thought of the 30 kroner. To go up to the manor house would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. He only wanted a chance to sleep here in the fog and then sneak away as unconspicuously as possible. Okay, now let us see the difficult meaning. Manor house here means a large country house. Comrade here means a fellow soldier. Alarmed means frightened. And inconspicuously here means invisible or which is not noticeable. Okay. Now listen the explanation of this story. Here in this story, the writer wants to say that the rat trap sailor didn't find it to be a good idea to visit the iron master's place. He was frightened with the idea of visiting to the large house of an old soldier, which according to him was not safe. After all, he had the stolen money with him. He didn't want to put himself in danger. His intentions were to sleep in the fog and then go away from there without even being noticed. Okay, now see the next paragraph. Para 22. The ironmaster assumed that he felt embarrassed because of his miserable clothing. Please don't think that I have such a fine home that you cannot show yourself there, he said. Elizabeth is dead, as you may already have heard. My boys are abroad, and there is no one at home except my oldest daughter and myself. We were just saying that it was too bad we didn't have any company for Christmas. Now, come along with me and help us to make the Christmas food disappear a little faster. Okay, now see the explanation of this paragraph. The ironmaster was aware of his friend's miserable condition. His condition was very miserable at that moment. So, he tried to make him comfortable by saying that he should feel free to come his home, as his home was an ordinary one. He told him that his wife was no more and added that he must be aware of this. Then the owner let him know that both his sons were settled abroad. Only he and his daughter were left at home. He invited the peddler to celebrate Christmas with his family, so that he and his daughter may have some good company at the Christmas feast, because only the owner and his daughter were left at the home to celebrate Christmas. So he thought the third person will join them to celebrate that festival. Okay, now see the next paragraph. Para 23. But The stranger said no and no and again no, and the ironmaster saw that he must give in. It looks as though Captain Onstel preferred to stay with you tonight. Now, Sergeant Storm, he sat to the master blacksmith and turned on his nail. Okay, now listen the explanation. Though the ironmaster made many attempts to invite him, the peddler didn't accept his invitation. So, at last, he says to blacksmith Sturgeon Storm that it seemed that Captain Onstel, who is peddler, wanted to stay with him in the fort. He didn't want to go in the manor house. Okay. Now see the next paragraph. Para 24. But he laughed to himself as he went away, and the blacksmith, who knew him, understood very well that he hadn't said his last word. Okay, now what this mean by this para? Then he laughed and went away. Okay, the owner laughed and went away, but the blacksmith knew that he was hiding something. Means there is hidden something behind that laughter. Okay, let us see what is it. Para 25. It was not more than half an hour before they heard the sound of carriage wheels outside the fort, and a new guest came in, but this time it was not the ironmaster. He had sent his daughter, apparently hoping that she would have better powers of persuasion than he himself. Okay. Now what happened after that? After when the owner returned back to his home, he sent a new guest, and that guest was his daughter. Okay. Means after a gap of half an hour, the ironmaster sent his daughter. He hoped that his daughter may bring his friend home, and as he believed that she was having the better persuasion ideas rather than he himself. Okay. Now see the next paragraph. Para 26. She entered followed by valet, carrying on his arm a big fur coat. She was not at all pretty, but seemed modest and quite shy. In the fort, everything was just as it had been earlier in the evening. The master blacksmith and his apprentice still sat on their bench. The iron and the charcoal still glowed in the furnace. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of pig iron under his head and his hat pulled down over his eyes. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up and lifted his hat. The man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye open. He jumped up abruptly and seemed to be quite frightened. Okay. Now here see the difficult meaning. Valet here means personal attendant. Modest means humble. And apprentice means learner. Okay. Now listen the explanation. The ironmaster's daughter entered the mill with her attendant, who was carrying a big fur coat. She was a humble girl who was very shy. When she entered, everyone was busy the same way as they had been earlier. The blacksmith was still sitting on the bench with his trainees and was working on the iron. She went up to the peddler and lifted his hat. The peddler slept with one eye open, and as soon as he saw her, he got shocked and jumped up. Okay. Now see the next para. Para 27. My name is Edla Wilmanson, said the young girl. My father came home and said that you wanted to sleep here in the fort tonight. And then I asked permission to come and bring you home to us. I'm so sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time. Okay? Okay, now see the explanation. She introduced herself as Idla Williamson and was sorry to hear about the hard times that he was facing. She explained to him that she had come to take him with her father's permission. Means she wanted to take that captain at her home. Okay. Now see the next paragraph. Para 28. She looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the man was afraid. Either he had stolen something or else he had escaped from jail. She thought and added quickly, "You may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us just as freely as you came. Only please stay with us over Christmas Eve." Okay, here compassionately means showing sympathy for others. Now what happened after that? What she said to that man? Idla had sympathy for the peddler, but then she noticed that the reason behind his fear could be that either he had committed robbery or jailbreak. So she said that he was free to leave their house at any time, but she wanted him to stay with the family just for Christmas Eve. Okay. Now see the next paragraph. Para 29. She said this in such a friendly manner that the Rattrap peddler must have felt confidence in her. "It would never have occurred to me that you would bother with me yourself, Miss," he said. "I will come at once." Okay. Now here the Edla was talking to peddler in a very nice way, which made him believe her, and he got ready to go with her. Means Edla was successful in convincing that man to come with her. Okay. Now see the next and the last paragraph of this video. That is para number 30. He accepted the fur coat which the valet handed him with a deep bow, threw it over his rags, and followed the young lady out to the carriage, without granting the astonished blacksmith so much as a glance. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil forebodings. Okay. Now here see the explanation, but before this let us know the meaning of difficult words. Astonished. Astonished means greatly surprised, and forebodings here means foretelling. Okay. Now see the explanation. The peddler wore the fur coat offered by valet and started following the lady. He didn't even bother to notice the other people in the room. On the way to house, the peddler felt that as he had committed a crime, he would be punished for it. Okay, means here your part is over here. Here in this video, the main motto is to fetch that peddler at manor house. Okay. Why? Because the both father and daughter, they both mistook peddler as their old acquaintance. Okay. And so they knew that that man was going through a very bad condition, and that's why they wanted to help that man. Okay. And the behavior of that girl, that daughter, was very good, which made him convinced to go at her home without having any fear. Okay. So we finished here, but next part to be continued in next video. I hope you have understood this video, and it is my suggestion, or you can say it is my request, to go through the video twice or thrice a time to understand it in a better way. Okay. So see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Take care.